Why is not long enough? Let's have a look. That's better. Hello, welcome guys. This is my channel, Glen. My name's Glen, and this is my cryptocurrency journey. If you're new to this channel, please click the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up if you like this content. I should be getting my computer in the next couple of days, so back to the old style videos. None of this Mickey Mouse going live on the phone shenanigans. But this is just going to be a quick one, really, because it's pretty much midnight in the UK now. Just got back from watching Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. It's pretty shit. That's my official review. First half was alright. Anyway, I wanted to talk today about Hashflare. So I haven't talked about Hashflare in my videos recently, well, for a few weeks now, probably a month or so, just because David says, hi Glenn, hello, welcome. I haven't talked about Hashflare because I wasn't liking the way they were conducting themselves with their constant price changing, and they're changing their terms and conditions. They're I don't know, it didn't sit right with me. So obviously I sort of tried to, I would say, distance myself from Hashflare. Obviously I still mention it because I still have contracts running. The contracts I took out were at the beginning of November, and I kept, no, was it probably towards the end of November, and I kept reinvesting up until probably January time. So I've probably still got another 6 months of contracts still running with Hashflare. But today they announced earlier, I read it earlier on today, and I even shared it in the Telegram group chat, which if you want to be a part of, click the link down below, join our Telegram group chat that we have. It's me and all my sort of Team Glen members all in there, and we all share newsworthy articles and opinions of what we think is going on in the market. So I shared in there about obviously Hashflare, saying basically the maintenance fee is pretty much at the moment, with the current price drop of Bitcoin and the difficulty rating going up 14%, which is quite a big bump, especially as we've had quite a few big ones recently. You know, you think, oh, maybe we're set for a couple of lower ones, but it seems that it keeps going up and up, the difficulty, and that's probably because well, I say probably, I know, because everyone's trying to mine around the world. And if you look at, say, you know, whether you believe him or not, John McAfee, he was saying, like, I believe that Bitcoin at some point will cost, I think he said 14 million. The last Bitcoin will cost 14 million to mine because of the difficulty rating. You're going to need such a tremendous amount of power and electricity and hash rate to be able to mine that last Bitcoin, which I assume once that's happened, a lot of those machines are going to become worthless unless they start mining another coin, I suppose. But it seems to be ringing true, because even Hashflare can't keep up with the, or I say keep up, obviously being profitable for the average Joe like me and you. So they are ceasing as of now. I read the article earlier on today about, obviously, you know, basically the maintenance fee is pretty much 100% of what you earn for the day. So let's say you mine 10% of a Bitcoin in one day, you've got a really high hash rate or something. The fee to cover the amount that you've mined would come to 10% of a Bitcoin. So you're going to end up with 0 Bitcoin earned in a day. That happened, I think, yesterday and today. And obviously Bitcoin difficulty only changes once every 2 weeks from my understanding. So unless Bitcoin goes back up in price over the 7-8K mark, and even then you're only going to earn, you know, probably 30% That's where it was before, 30%, I think. Unless it goes back up suddenly, Hashflare is going to remain unprofitable for a while. I say unprofitable, like literally nothing. Like there's literally no point. Every day you would be running at a loss. Obviously, if Bitcoin goes up, then that's a different story. And it'd have to go up to be actually profitable over the whole term of the contract. It would have to go up quite a bit, I believe. Probably back to sort of over 14k mark. So double where it is now. Then you would see the fees dropping down to sort of 40% on a day-to-day basis. Just roughly off the top of my head, this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing my thoughts. So I thought, okay, well, it's going to be out of order for people that are buying, say, Hashflare today, because they may not know that it's completely unprofitable and there's no point doing it. So I've checked online today. I've read their article that they posted. They shared it on Twitter, and I read the comments, and someone was on there, and he was like, "You're fucking scam artists. You know, your contracts are completely unprofitable, 100% fees. You're just ripping people off. You should cease selling these contracts." And even I read it, and I thought, yeah, he's got a good point actually. And then someone commented below saying they did. They stopped selling contracts earlier on today. So I thought, did they? So I've gone over to the Hashflare website, and they have actually all of their contracts. You can't buy any. It says out of stock, which actually made me think, fair play to Hashflare to do that. You know, obviously they've looked at the situation, they've realised what's going on, and they've reacted to it. So they could continue to keep taking people's money, and you know, they could then turn around and say, you know, if people saying, "Oh, I've just invested loads of money in Hashflare and I've just realised it's not actually that profitable," they say, "Well, you know, tough shit, mate. You should have looked into it before you gone into do your own research, whatever." PJ says, "What did I miss?" We're just talking about Hashflare, PJ, and them actually ceasing to sell contracts within the last few hours. They're not actually selling any contracts on their website as of now. Obviously, that may change. Maybe they'll change the price of it. But I don't see what even if they were selling the contracts for 10 cent per gigahash, you know, it's irrelevant because can you guys see me, hear me? My screen just said reconnect. I don't know if... Can someone just comment and say, yes, you can see me? Hi again. Sorry, my phone's just come up with a little loading symbol in the middle, and it says, oh, right, good, you can all hear me, good. Yeah, so fair play to Hashflare. They've actually stopped taking people's money, and the only way I can see them being worth carrying on with them is if they lower the maintenance fee, but you know, or if Bitcoin goes up. So I assume what they're going to do is thinking about it. They're going to cease to sell contracts as they are now. The second Bitcoin goes back up to 7k, 7.2, something like that, they'll re-enable it, and people will be able to buy again. But it just goes to show Hashflare is really tinkering on the edge of being either completely unprofitable. You know, there's absolutely no point in purchasing any contracts through Hashflare as it stands at the minute. If obviously you got in years ago and well, I say years ago, obviously I got in 6-7 months ago, so I've already earned, you know, what I put in. So for me, if I earn nothing from this point onwards, I haven't lost anything. So I'm in a fortunate position. Some of you may have bought Hashflare contracts at, you know, an all-time high of Bitcoin, and you paid a high price for it, and you know, you haven't seen a return on your investment. over the last 6-7 months. So I feel sorry for those people. But anyway, they're not selling contracts now. Now, this actually made me think, do you know what? Respect to Hashflare for doing that, because they could just keep taking people's money. What about people have the reinvestment button still on? That's a good point, Tyrone. It's nice to see you, Tyrone. I haven't seen you for ages comment on a video, so thanks for that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't got the reinvestment option on, and I can't actually log on to my Hashflare account. So what I was thinking is, I wonder if, I don't know if Hashflare do this, and maybe someone could tell me, what happens if the maintenance fee is more than the contract that you've set out? Will they start deducting money from your balance? I hope they don't, because I don't actually know what's in my balance with Hashflare at the minute. I've got no way of knowing until I reset my two-factor authentication, which I've tried doing actually just recently, but they've asked for a photo of me holding a form of ID, which I need to do actually. But yeah, the as it stands right now, I believe you can't buy any Hashflare contracts. So that's SHA-256. What's the other one? Script, the Ethereum. The other one's always sold out anyway, but yeah, the main ones you can't buy, so we'll see. David said they will lose everything. Then it runs 14 days and it's not profitable. The contract is over. So if Bitcoin potentially doesn't go up within the next 2 weeks, if we see 2 weeks of continuous stagnation or dropping in price, pretty much everyone's going to lose their Hashflare contracts, potentially. I can't see that happen. Well, I can actually. I can see that happening, but I would imagine Bitcoin is going to go up. David says, "Don't panic at all, please." That's balls deep. I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking, but oh, and people can't buy contracts now anyway. So, you know, I'm only putting the word out there that obviously, if the opportunity comes up to invest in Hashflare, I really would stay clear of it at the moment until Bitcoin goes back up in price. If you can get it at the cheap rate, obviously, soon as the price of Bitcoin goes up, normally so do Hashflare's fees. So I don't know. That's a tricky one. Get the violins out, boys. Put a little sand in there too. Yeah, it's get the violins out. It reminds me of, you know, the Titanic, when the violin players, they look at each other and they go, "One last song, chaps." We're on a sinking ship. We're on the Titanic. Question is, who's Jack? Everyone wants to be Jack. PJ said, I know David says, EOS will get the voting done soon, and then everything everywhere party. They will try and get the weak EOS holders out of this phase. They won't after 21 days of non-profit. They cancel your contract, either 14 or 21. Yeah, I mean, my whole experience, obviously, of any sort of cloud mining service in any way has been quite negative, really, over the whole span of it. I've been quite lucky or fortunate in a position where, obviously, people were using my referral link when I talked about Hashflare. Therefore, obviously, it made me profitable a lot quicker because I gained more terahash and then I was getting higher payouts. But if I had none of that, then I think I would still be running at a loss right now, based on what I've accumulated. I could probably work that out if I could access my account. But as far as I can remember, I wouldn't be running at a profit right now. So it'd be a complete loser for me. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would feel the same. So what does this teach us? One, invest in equipment and mine yourself. Even that is not a guarantee. It still could run at a loss. I was watching videos based on what you said last time, PJ, about is it FGP? FGPUs or F something or other. Apparently they're like really profitable now because they sort of sit in between GPU mining and ASIC, but ASIC came out and absolutely phased them out. But now obviously a lot of coins, FPGA, yeah, that's it. That's PJ's always there. And apparently the coins that are becoming ASIC resistant, you can still get past it by using these FPGAs, which I was going to look into and potentially buy one of those and get one set up in the crypto shed once obviously I get this place all set up. So yeah, that's a bit of news, I suppose. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about, guys. I'm not going to go on for like an hour-long video. I wanted to just quickly point out Hashflare currently have stopped selling contracts completely because their maintenance fee has taken up 100% or almost 100% of your daily Bitcoin mined. So therefore they are completely zilch Bitcoin earned each day. So I would, if you have a balance that you can withdraw from Hashflare, I would withdraw it in case they do end up shutting down or something like that. I'm not saying they will do that, but until obviously Bitcoin goes back up in price or the difficulty drops, which I can't see the difficulty dropping anytime soon, we just need to hope, fingers crossed, that the price of Bitcoin goes up, then the Hashflare contracts will start to pay out again. David says PJ is right, 21 days. So think is unlikely. That's my honest opinion. I think it's unlikely that would happen. Potentially, all of our Hashflare contracts are going to be cancelled, so no one will have a Hashflare contract, and that's pretty much their whole business model down the drain. Saying that, I'm sure they're sitting there happy mining all sorts of coins all day long with those ASIC machines. You know goddamn well Hashflare is still mining. Oh yeah, they're still mining. Don't worry, they're still earning their dollar. It's still profitable as hell for them. Yeah, I mean, they're getting it both ways. They're getting the maintenance fee, the upfront cost, the upfront payment that we make for the contract. So they're receiving that sort of upfront payment. Plus also they're making the machines themselves, mining themselves, keeping a percentage of the mine fees. So yeah, they're earning a decent pay. BP says, has your long-term BTC/crypto view changed last few days, Glenn? No, not at all. You get Raymond. I'm not sure what that means, Russell. My view on cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in particular is I still believe that Bitcoin, no matter what, I don't know what price it's going to end up being, and I'm not going to be, John McAfee and say, yeah, it's going to be worth this much. But I still see it as, and I don't see it replacing fiat money. And I know a lot of people out there will say, oh, yes, the money of the future, and it's going to replace all fiat, banks will collapse, governments will collapse, we'll overthrow. I don't think any of that's going to happen. I honestly believe that Bitcoin will be measured against all world currencies. So I think that we will say, oh, the British pound today is worth 1/1,000,000th of a Bitcoin, whereas the US dollar is worth, 2/2,000,000th of a Bitcoin. And that's how we will track whether currencies have gone up or down in value. I think some countries will try to use Bitcoin as their predominant currency, same as some countries actually use US dollar as their main currency, which is, if you think about it, that's crazy. That's another country using another country's money as their main currency. So I can see cryptocurrency having that, but I don't see it as overtaking all money in the future. That's just my opinion, but these price fluctuations really are irrelevant because as if you look, if all currencies are measured against Bitcoin, the price, if $6,000 buys you one Bitcoin today, if Bitcoin goes up in value, also fiat money is going to go down in value. So to buy that same $6,000 worth of Bitcoin as such, you're going to have to generate probably 8 or 9, 10, 12,000 US dollar to buy that amount of Bitcoin anyway. Not because the price has gone up of it, but because your money is worth less than it was now. I see that happening, which is going to be a double whammy effect, which means obviously the price of Bitcoin will go up dramatically. And I'll think about it, like a lot of people always say invest in obviously bricks and mortar, obviously houses. But I remember when the property market, it crashed and people were losing like hundreds of thousands of valuation on their properties. You know, people were saying like, oh, my house has just gone down. I sold during the crisis. I lost 50 grand on that house. You know, it's not a guarantee. And I was thinking the other day, this is another thing that's on my mind. Properties can't keep going up in value much more than they are now. I don't know, obviously, if you're watching this from another country. In the UK, to buy a house now, you need to be looking at, especially for a family of, you know, you need a 3-bedroom. That seems to be the typical, like a 3-bedroom house, yeah? You're looking at between 200 and 300,000. That's for an average house. Average. Obviously, there's people buying houses 500,000, and I'm sure there's some shithole areas that you can pick one up for maybe 150,000, which I know that's the case. But let's say on average, you're looking between 200 to 300,000, depending on where you live. Now, most banks generally will lend you 5 times, up to 5 times your salary. So if I earn £25,000 a year, which in US dollars is probably $32,000 or about $30,000 a year, which inherently is about $2,500 to $3,000 per month, which is a decent wage from what I gather, from what I've seen, you know, from people in America, and that's also a decent wage for someone in the UK. You know, you'd have to have quite a good job to sort of earn that. You know, you ain't going to earn that stacking shelves in McDonald's or you know, Tesco's or Asda's, Walmart, you know, that sort of thing. You're not going to earn that working in those sort of places. Anyway, the point I'm trying to get to is, so let's say I've got this 25k. That's a decent job. I'm earning a decent person's wage, you know, what I believe anyway. You do 5 times that, so 25, 50, 75, I'm sorry, I'm cat, 125,000. That means the banks will only lend me up to 125,000 pounds or US dollars, whatever currency you want to convert it into. That's not enough to buy an average 3-bedroom house. That's not enough for a man to pay for an average house for his family. And where does that keep going? It can't. At some point, it has to hit a ceiling. It has to. Unless people's wages just dramatically go up and everyone's on 50k a year, you know, 100k a year. Because, you know, I was talking about it to someone. They said they get a 30. I won't go into all of it, but they get like a 30% discount on their buying the house if they want to do that. And I was adding it up. Their house is worth about 300,000. So I was thinking, oh, they get 90k off it, so they can buy it for 210,000. And I said to him, oh, how much do you earn? And he's a year, do you reckon? He said, I earn about between 25 and 28,000 a year. Now, like I just done that maths, it only works out to 125. And I was thinking, my God, even with a 30% discount off the price of the house, he still can't get a mortgage. He still can't get it. That's insane. Sorry, I'm going off on a bit of a rant. There's nothing to do with cryptocurrency, but this is where I'm trying to get to. Eventually, the second that something happens with, we saw it with the last big recession, because of the subprime mortgage lending that was going on, obviously the world collapsed financially. And if the housing sector does collapse, or it hits a point where people are like, look, this is enough. We, you know, can't buy it, can't afford a house for £500,000 for a 3-bedroom little townhouse. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. At some point, you need either someone to step in, like the government, and say, right, that's it. No one can sell their houses above this amount. As soon as that happens, and obviously everyone starts mortgaging their eye up to their eyeballs, and that's literally all you're living for. You're just hello, hello. Sorry about that, guys. Cutting out. I'm going to have to end this. The financial sector's everyone looking to right. This system doesn't work. Hello, sorry. I don't know why. Why is my internet all cutting out? Maybe my net's like that. I think the system, you know, and obviously Bitcoin's going to be there, and buy a house using this, you know, I don't know. It's just something I've got in my mind. I just can't see how good that. Oh, can't describe it. A quote that I got. Your 1% attacking you. She gets more than 51%. Let's catch up with what you guys are saying, because I went on a bit of a rant there about housing. Perfect way for a miner to get seed funding. All those customers just funding their growth. Learning lesson for all on mining. Strict words there by Baby London. Tyrone says, how did you see Jurassic Park already? Don't come out until June 22nd here. I do not believe that it's out in this country before America, Tyrone. No way. Especially like 2 or 3 weeks before. Doubt it. But it's not worth the wait. I can tell you that much. The last one was okay. This one, pretty crappy. PJ says, the noodle's yummy. You get the noodle. David says 5.5, the mining process continues until said mining is profitable. This means the mining process will stop if the maintenance fee and electricity fees will become larger than the payout. Baby London says crypto will only offer a new business model for companies in which to tokenize their ecosystem to exchange goods, such as data. Yes, I can see that. But obviously, if the whole world relied on, there was a major hack, we shouldn't see these massive crashes, because the price of Bitcoin will at some point level off and it'll just be worth 1 Bitcoin will be worth 1 Bitcoin. That's, you know, that's it. And unless someone hacks the whole Bitcoin system or the blockchain, then unfortunately, well, I believe that the world's economy will be quite stable, whereas at the minute it's always quite fiddly. It could, one country could do really bad 1 month and then one does good, and rise and falls. And then maybe we'll see, obviously, if, you know, actually coming together, countries coming together around the world, each other. And obviously there's a lot of politics and tactics that go involved in keeping one above the other, say predominantly the US dollar. So maybe we'll see dirty tactics like that go away, which is only, again, better for mankind. BTC has almost beat out all currencies on the scale and it hasn't been changed. No, that's the thing that's outstanding with Bitcoin, is that it hasn't been hacked, it hasn't been altered, it hasn't been changed. Yeah, there's been a second layer added onto it to offer different options, but the underlying core of Bitcoin blockchain has remained the same, which is staggering considering that anything digital, anything, even my fucking PS4, every time I plug it in, I've got to do a software update. Do you know what I mean? And all that does is play video games. You know, back in the day, you used to put a SNES cartridge, used to blow it, put it in, and it would just load up instantly. But now you've got to do software updates, install it. Anything digital these days needs to be changed, altered. It needs to be whatever. It needs to be redone for the new equipment, the new machines, the new operating systems. But Bitcoin hasn't had to do any of that. It's the same. It's such a it's very, very clever, but also actually very simplistic in actually the code. Someone's created a code and that's it. Hasn't been altered, hasn't been changed, which I think is really good. That's why Bitcoin is king. Government on banks don't give a shit about any of that. Hi guys, what's up, says Ralph. PJ says hi again. Is the ex-wife 51% attacking you? She's still giving me the one thumbs down every video. I still have one thumbs down for every single video I do. Wah, wah, wah. I've only got 3 likes up, so if you want to beat my ex-wife, please give me a thumbs up on this video. Does Hashflare exit scam or what? Well, this is the thing. I'm actually applauding Hashflare for actually stop selling contracts, because to me, if they were going to exit scam, if they should still be selling contracts. The fact that they've come out and said, right, we're not selling any more contracts now, to me, that's a good thing. That's them proactively trying to stop people losing money. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? But yeah, if obviously Bitcoin doesn't go up in price over the next 21 days, potentially every single customer of Hashflare will have their accounts closed because their contracts will come to an end. Which I don't know. I don't know what would happen in that scenario. David says, no, Hashflare doesn't, Bitcoin does. Daniel says, has Hashflare actually stopped selling contracts, or are they just out of stock? Well, they've put it's out of stock, but it's them saying we're not going to sell any more contracts because of the maintenance fee is actually 100% of what you mine for the day. So it's actually completely unprofitable at all to mine with Hashflare as it stands at the moment. If the price of Bitcoin dramatically goes up, or even not dramatically, sort of, you know, 8,000-9,000, then yeah, they'll be more profitable again. And you could say, as long as you've got a good price at the beginning, you should potentially see a return. If Bitcoin does go up to like 75k, 50k, 20k, like everyone's predicting by the end of this year, then Hashflare will look very lucrative towards the end of the year. But as it stands at the minute, unless that happens, it's very unprofitable. And I would recommend that you do not invest in Hashflare at all, even if they do make their contracts available. If I was you, I would get your money out of there, wait until the price of Bitcoin does go back up again, and then reassess it then. But it's not financial advice, that's just my opinion. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, guys. I'm going to end it there. I'll deep there. Give this video a thumbs up. If you're new to this channel, please click the subscribe button. I will be doing more videos about Hashflare and their profitability over the coming weeks. Obviously, we'll see how it goes, and obviously the price of Bitcoin. So we have to monitor that quite closely. So I'll see you guys on the next episode from BitGlen. Bye, guys.